Hi, everyone. Good evening to you. Thanks so much for joining me in this post MBA, post business school career goals workshop. I would say post business school, but MBA is the most popular program of the day. So, hence, keeping the title, it's much better, right? But if you're attending business school and if you're going to go for even anything associated with business school, this is a webinar that you should be attending. I hope that you can all hear me. Okay. All right. So let's get going. In my various roles in the past, I have like worked with so many people over the years. And one thing that I have been always curious about is the path they charted to get where they are. And I would say that has given me so much insight into what people should be aspiring for, how they should be going about thinking about their career goals, and what they should be doing in order to arrive at that answer, and so on. So that's what we're going to look at today. You know very well how to access the Career Labs course portal. You can access it to the servicing portal or through the course portal, which is nothing but this one here. So which is the lms.thecareerlabs.com. So I'll just show that to you. Log into lms.thecareerlabs.com and log in using your Google ID with which you would have registered with us, or the ID with which you have registered with us, and log in, and you will be able to get access to this course. Now, this course has a lot of important tools and the focus of the month sessions and the workshops. So today's workshop will end up in this section of additional workshops. And it has a lot of video resources, lesson resources, handouts, quizzes, and everything else. This is like basically designed in order to help you to move forward in the various aspects of your application journey, which is very important, right? We also have worksheets, which we really believe in. I know that somebody was saying, can you like name it differently? And I've been thinking about it, but essentially it is a worksheet, because we want you to be deliberate about where you want to go and study and intentional about it. So that is the reason why you would start it. And then, see, are you able to hear me all right? Can you just give me like a thumbs up if you are, please? Yeah, you can go into reactions and then probably try that. Okay. You could even say like a hi if you're able to hear me. Super. Excellent. Thank you. Okay, so moving ahead. So I'm just gonna like quickly like get back to where we are. Excellent. So see, why does business school care so much about career goals? Because unlike any other school, like when we say school, we refer to possibly the higher ed here, right? The graduate school and all. So when we look at any kind of program, business school is probably the only one which has a career outcome associated with it automatically. You go to business school in order to achieve a certain career. See, for example, I studied automotive engineering, mechanical engineering as well. When I studied mechanical engineering, I could have been anything. And honestly, school had nothing to do with getting me a job, right? But business schools are supposed to produce results and say that 100% of the graduates have got so many offers within 3 months, and all of them have got jobs within 3 months, and so on and so forth. So that is the difference. Business school or any kind of management program will have a career outcome that is actually an essential and mandatory part of success for that school. That is why they are so picky and choosy about who they take, because, for example, if you're a candidate who gets in and you don't really have the quant skills and you are not going to succeed in the program, then their numbers will be affected, which is again why they really want to make sure that you are able to get in, right? So MBA, Masters in Business Management or International Management, Strategic Management, Supply Chain Management, right? Those are all a master's in management is one thing, but then you have specialized business masters, MS in finance, accounting, marketing, etc. So it doesn't matter. Any program that's offered by the business school, either separately or in collaboration with other schools. Example, School of Information Management, Information Systems, or engineering management with the engineering school, right? Any of these kind of programs, this today's webinar will be like kind of like cater towards that. Okay, and now you could come from fashion technology, you could come from like a humanities background. You could be an engineer, doctor, lawyer. I have all of you guys. It doesn't really matter, because we're going to look at the process of how to define the goal setting, and we're going to look at the career goals live exercises as well a little bit, so that by the end of today, right, I want you to understand the importance of career goals with respect to the application process for business school. See, the MBA application process in any business school will typically be the most rigorous one, and every other program will be kind of derived from that. Okay, and therefore, if you know like how the career goals is associated with like the application process for MBA, you'll be able to tackle it for MS in finance, MS in quant finance, anything else. That's kind of our approach, and you can understand the roadmap for arriving at the career goals today, and most importantly, figure out if there are any roadblocks to your dreams and how to overcome those, and how can you get this one. And we have like the career goals form. It is actually for March 2024, and we're going to like showcase that to you and use that as well. Okay, super. So moving forward, now see, if you are going to, oh, sorry, the you are here should have actually come here, my bad. This is where you are. Sorry for, we are in April, right? I'm already like stuck in December, no? So I want December to come though, because December is when our first round results are all coming, always. So it's a very exciting time. And of course, all our deadlines get done by December, a lot of students apply with us. So yeah, I would love for December to come, but we have time, thankfully. So, you are here in April. So you should be applying by September or sometimes in August, as early as August. Because example, Indian schools, some of the IIMs will have early deadlines. Okay. So you know the timeline. The timeline is very, very close. You have around 6 months left. And I wrote an article about it saying that there are only 24 weeks left for round one. And actually, 2 weeks went past. So only 22 weeks left to round one in September. September is a major month for United, US and Europe and a little bit. August is a little bit for some of the, Indian schools, a little, as well as a few others, but it is early. So you have to note that it can be early. Now, this is the timeline that you're working with, and today we are going to look at why of the MBA. Now, why on earth are you going for the MBA? How are you going to benefit from it, right? So let's fill out some Google form. No, instead of me talking all the time, I'm going to stop share one second so that I can take you to that form and we can both fill it out. So yeah, we're gonna add the form in the chat so that you are like aware of it and you can just start working on it. So this is the form that we have, and we would really request you to open it up and then start filling it today, right? So I'll just share it for a second. So this is a form that you would have. And now there are many things in the form. Do not worry. That's why I'm here to help you. And it's not complicated as it looks. That's why we're going to do one thing at a time. Please fill your email out for me very quickly. That'll be great. And whatever is the email ID that you can, quickly like fill out. And then now I want you to really think about, oops. Just a second, folks. I was so trigger happy and accidentally clicked on changing the email ID, but I don't need to. Okay, there we go. Right. Put your email ID quickly. Now, there are many sections out here. So let's stop. I'm going to stop it. I know that you've taken it from here. There are so many sections. Don't worry. We're going to do it one by one. All right. So that's going to be the game plan. And that is a Google form that I'm talking about. By the end of today's session, you should be able to finish it, right? Moving ahead. So what should you know about filling this is, see, the first thing that people don't realize when you're going to business school, whether for MIM, MBA, MSBA, MS in finance, whatever, is that it is beyond the degree. It is not about the degree. So you're not going there just for the MBA or the MIM or having those three initials after your name. There are a lot at stake. You are looking at essentially about 3 to 7 years of your career, and if not more. You know what? See, I have done masters. My first masters was in 2007, a long, long time ago, right? But I still talk about my masters or use my masters like after 17, 18 years, right? Why? Because it is valuable. So it is a branding exercise that you're going in for, and you're associating yourself with the brand. So in addition to the professional goals, right, which is essentially like when we say career goals, we talk about professional goals, like saying, I want to become a data scientist, or I want to become a chief technology officer at the CIA. So you guys know, by the way, that like one Indian has become the chief um, technology officer. And, that's so fun, right? Anyway, so in terms of professional goals, you know that it's kind of straightforward, but there are so many other parameters which actually decide someone's reason to go for an MBA. All right, so that's exactly what we're going to decipher in today's session. Now, here are the reasons why you might want to go for an MBA. Like, these are the most common ones that we saw. What I want you to do is pick the top 5 from here, or whatever it is that you think that you are going for, right? Now, whatever be the degree. So I'm just using MBA as a placeholder for any business school degree out here. So you can also do the same. So you can also do the same for it, right? Now, let's look at the reasons. If I am you, I would pick something else, like, I can pick, I want to explore new career options. I want to, sorry, yeah, I want to look at new career options. I want better skills. I want more money. I want more time for myself, and I want to say or start my own business. So these could be my reasons. Your reasons could be completely different, and it could also not be on this particular, slide. You could have other reasons. So pick the reasons for the master's program that you want to take up in the business school, and that's your first starting point. You need to understand the reasons. Now you can go back and think deeper about it. In fact, each of these can become an essay in itself. You can figure out, why are you bored of your current role? What kind of aspects do you like about your current role? What kind of role do you want later? Okay, and how do you think the MBA is going to help you? Now that will become an essay in itself. Okay, so there are many ways to expand on this and understand like what it takes. But most importantly, we are going to look at professional goals, personal goals, and financial goals. Now, I like to start with personal goals. You know why? Because people often miss the person angle, right? Meaning, like, you are a person, you are a human being, and you have certain needs. You want a community around you, you want a roof and some food in your stomach, and of course, some nice clothes. You want to be in a culture where you are looked after. And if you have a spouse or children later on in life, education, healthcare, housing, all of these things. So you are part of a society and you would want all these things. Now, you're again wanting to have a better quality of life in terms of, is it safe for you? What about gun violence, and what about the gun, what do you call it as, possession laws in that particular state? Especially in the US, it's a big problem. What about the crime rate in some of the other places? Like, are there too many thieves? Like, what happens? And so on. What about recreation and the leisure time? And so on and so forth. So, you really want to be thinking about the personal aspects, which are actually what drives the decision on a region. And when I say a region, I mean, say for example, you are going to decide, I want to go to the UK, I want to go to US, I want to go to Canada, I want to go to Netherlands, and so on. That is what would be very important, because most of your personal goals are going to come in that particular section, right? Like, based on your personal goals is how you'll decide the region where you want to go. Now, there are other factors too, like how long can you stay in that country? Like, do you have a visa, work visa, and everything else? Now, personal goals are very easy if you ask me. It is very simple. Like, what's your short term goal? What's your long term goal? How can this particular country or school help you to achieve that? And what about workplace conditions? So, would they allow you to work remote? Would they be very, like, is there going to be a layoff within, like, without any notice? How is it going to be? So you really want to understand the culture of the country. Now, for example, US is very fast paced. I loved it. Okay, and I visited a friend in France for like 3 weeks, and I was bored out of my life, because I found France so slow and very, like, yeah, it felt like being in a government office after you worked for Google. Okay, I don't know how to say that, but yeah. But when I worked for US firms, they were like very, very fast and direct. And of course, there was a lot of load on it and so on. So you really want to understand the culture and know that there's a lot more to your career goals as well. And of course, it's very simple. The finance is the easiest bit. You have to have a goal and say, like, hey, I want to make around $150,000 per annum. And Stanford and Harvard get some of the highest starting salaries as well. So these are some of the things that you have to think, as well as your study visa permit, work permit, PR, citizenship, and everything else. Now, that is exactly why we have the region research worksheet. I can point you to the LMS for it in a short while, but you can look at that. Okay. Now, why do we need career goals? Very simple. If you're going for MBA, it's going to be why MBA. Career goals are the answer to the question. Simple as that. MBA is always like a forward focused degree, because they want to know whether you are capable of achieving the next goal. It can be product management, etc., etc. So now I'm going to take a small detour here. All right, let's pause for a second. This particular slide is very important, because at the end of today's session, you will have more clarity on how to answer these two statements. Now, these two statements might look very simple, no? Like, hey, after MBA, I want to be what? That's all I'm asking. Now, after 10 to 15 years, or rather for 5 to 10 years, what do you want to do in your life? That's all we're asking, right? But it's not that straightforward. Your entire application will be based on this career goal selection of yours. Your interview is going to be 100% based on what are your career goals, why are you coming to this program, etc., etc. So these two sentences are what we're going to achieve in today's session. Okay, note many things here. There is a role, there is a company, there is an industry. Okay, so what are these things? So hold on to the thought, and I'm going to show you very quickly. So let's go back and I'm going to share with you the form, if you remember. I hope you're able to access the form, right? So pick the reasons for which you want to do the MBA. So honestly, if you ask me right now, I want a leadership role. I would definitely want more money. I want more time for myself. I want to create a positive impact. And then I want to seek better skills. These are reasons I would take if I want to go for an MBA. Okay. And your reasons could be exactly opposite, different, etc. Take like pick top 3 reasons is what we are asking you, but you can have many as well. So you can like kind of prioritize or reprioritize this set of reasons and then keep it as well and apply like whichever works for you. Now, there are many questions here, right? Leave these. Like go to the question that I'm asking you. So let's go to the personal goals question right now. There's a reason why I have like made this form in this manner, just to make it interesting, but there is also a reason which I'll tell you. So let's look at the personal goals that are there. Now, do you want to be a citizen of the country later on, some point of time? US, it can be literally lifetime, to be very honest. Canada, Australia are also closing, and then Singapore closed already. And then majority of the other countries like France, Germany, and all of them, right, also have limited citizenship options. It doesn't mean the citizenships don't exist, but it takes a long time in any of these countries. So the easiest or the earliest time will be anywhere between 12 to 15 years is what you can expect to get a citizenship. But it can be fast tracked. Even in the US, there are many ways by which you can fast track your visa on even be, and then there are like, new visas that come in as well. Okay. So you really want to understand the personal goals. Start clicking the ones that make sense to you. So for me, I definitely want a high quality of life. I want to be a part of a culture I like. Healthcare, education, very important to me. I don't care about the rest. Now you could be very different here. So pick the ones that matter to you very quickly. Let's go to the professional goals. And again, I'll come to the professional goals in a bit. So hold on to that. Let's go to the financial goals. Financial goals are the easiest, as I told you. Because see, I can say I want $150,000 or $200,000 or whichever. That's like a preference that you're adding. So you can keep whichever you want and then add like cost of living, other things, etc. So you have to realize that the cost of living in some places is really, really a lot. Example, New York City, Washington, D.C., and your, Austin also has started like increasing and so on. So there are many places, Baltimore, for example, very high prices again. So California, don't even ask, highest cost of living in some of the places there. So you really want to understand where you're going, what is the cost of living, whether Paris, Europe, Australia, Oceania, anywhere. And then, most importantly, which of the other factors are important to you? Are you worried about getting this one or a citizenship? Or like even like, do you have the ability to set up startups? Berlin and then Ireland, where some of the places which allows you to like set up startups and they're making it easier for you to set up startups and so on. Okay. Now, so these are the 2 questions that you had, right? So at this point of time, I would want to say write it. Just write it. And when you're writing, this is a challenge that you'll run into. So what is a function or a role? It's nothing but like an operations manager. What is a company name? Obviously like an Amazon or Walmart or Flipkart or whatever. And then what is the industry? The industry can be e-commerce, retail, etc. So you might have questions about this. Now that is why I'm going to go back and then help you for how to identify that. Okay. So remember, short-term goal is something super specific. It's like if you have a set of glasses, you're able to see 100% vision. It's like that. You know what is the next step that you have to take. And typically it's about 1 year, within 1 year of your graduation. What is it that you want to do after your MBA? Long-term goals is more directional. And when we say directional, it is like saying that, hey, you know what? I'm going to go on a vacation. I'm going to go somewhere north. or I'm going to go on a vacation, I'm going to go to the mountains. Okay. Now, all we know is you're definitely going to the mountains. Now, it can be the, Mount Rushmore, it can be like Mount Kilimanjaro, or it can be like Mount Everest. But we know that you're going towards like possibly in a mountain or in 5 to 10 years and so on. So the long-term goal is more directional and it can be a little vague and it's more big picture oriented. But the short-term goal is super specific. Example, I want to become the operations manager at Amazon, working on these kind of things right now. Okay. Now, coming to the next part, career goals. See, honestly, you're going to career like to MBA or business school because you want to improve your career. Now, how can you improve your career? What I call as career growth, career advancement is you either get like an acceleration in the same like wherever you are, or you pivot or switch. This means that you're changing. And then, of course, you can also look at entrepreneurship. You yourself are like, gaining something. So the starting point for any of this and all of this can be some of the things that I'm showing you here. Okay. Now, so this is also important to keep. So to answer the statements of industry, function, and role, let's look at this. Any kind of industries, these are the industries that exist typically. Because when you look at it, education, you have Byju's and of course Career Labs was in education. But education, you also have like example Columbia and then Sikkim Manipal University. All of those are examples of educational institutions that might be there. It can be a tech as well. Okay, so you have to. It can be even publishing for that matter. Because textbook publishing and publishers, Wiley Publishing, Pearson View, a few of them. It can be like GMAT, for example, which is a non-profit associated with delivering tests for education, right? So ETS and GMAT can also come under education, right? So the industries are many, and the way to look at it is like just a broad category. And you might be wondering about it, right? So there are going to be tons of industries available, and that exhaustive list is shown elsewhere, which I'm going to show you in a second. So if you go to your, oops, sorry. Oh my God. I think you were seeing a different screen. Sorry about that. Yeah, this is like a set of industries. I was just talking about this. So if you might have not seen it, this is a statement that we're going to like answer. And then this is the difference between the short-term goals and the long-term goals that I was talking about. And definitely the career goals as a starting point. Okay. So wherein either you want to accelerate or advance in your wherever you are, or you want to switch, or you want to be an entrepreneur. And of course, you can have many variations of it. Yeah, and this is the example of industry. We're going to show that in the form in a second, all right, like after this. Now, you might wonder, like, how do I know about the industries? I don't know. That's exactly why you have the ISB employment report. So in the ISB employment report, you have everything, and you will see that, look, how have I organized it? This is the broad one that's available. How has ISB organized this? It has gone a little bit more deeper. And it shows like how many of your students have got into where and what and so on. Now, look at INSEAD. INSEAD will definitely tell you the career paths that people have changed, how many got employment later, what is the median salary, etc. So this is what I told you about the career changes. Look at HEC. HEC will tell you what was the pre-MBA sector, what is the post-MBA sector. Now, if you notice, sector, industry, domain are all used interchangeably for the purpose of business school. Of course, it can mean a little different. There are some nuances like involved, but for the purpose of getting into business school, these are all like kind of like same. Now, employment statistics are also a very good way to get an understanding of where are people moving, like what kind of industry sector are they moving into. So consumer products, obviously in HUL or your Procter and Gamble would come in. Media entertainment, one of my friends at LBS works with Sky. And another friend, right, she actually works with a production house herself, and she was a HBS graduate. So you have so many of these things coming in. What is function? Now, function is very simple. Think about it in a business. See, in a business, You're going to make something and you're going to develop the product, and then obviously someone is going to produce it, and then someone's going to sell it, and for selling you need somebody to market it, and of course, to deliver the goods you need logistics and supply chain management and everything else happening, and the actual manufacturing will also happen, correct? And of course you need somebody to collect all the money and account your finances, etc., and you need somebody to manage your people in your own organization and the vendors and everybody else. Okay, and of course you need to analyze your data that comes in to see whether you're running a good ship or not. So functions here refers to business functions. Typically, all the business functions that you might be taking after the MBA over here. Okay, again, it's kind of limited, but you will see like many of them will split it in multiple ways. And here are some of the examples: analytics, consulting, finance, a lot of them. Okay. All right. So again, HEC Paris is a good way for you to understand the function changes as well. And of course, the employment statistics also gives you like a good understanding of placement by function, placement by sector, or the domain and industry, and so on. All right. So how are we doing so far? So good. Yeah. Let's move on to the others. Okay, now let's go even stepper, right? Now, I'll show you one thing, what you have to look at. So when you're going to understand different programs, for example, it's very evident that 32% of people get placed in consulting. Next is financial general management, and next comes the financial services. So these are some of the ways in which here it is organized. Okay, and a lot of people, actually a lot of, I'm so sorry. This is actually wrong, isn't it? 1 minute. Yeah, this is consulting and then followed by marketing and sales and followed by operations and logistics. Now, these are three things. Sorry, my bad. The top three are here. Let's go to another school. Example, Tepper. Tepper is in the US. Now, let's go and look at it. So, in the function, majority again is consulting, but the second one is marketing and all that, and the third one can be your finance over here. So you saw that how it's getting changed. So suppose you want to work in media, you want to work in say like aviation sector or something else, you can see like what are the, like how many or what's happening and so on, like what are the options available, how are the outcomes, how are the placements looking like, where do most people get placed, who are the kind of employers who come there, all that. So this employment statistics is a very good thing. Now, the role that you want in post MBA is obviously going to be a function of the pre MBA, because they look at quantity and the quality of experience. Both of them are important. They also look at the company. Say, for example, you were already working for an Amazon before, getting a job later would be easier. You know why? Because Amazon would have very stringent regulations and rules for you for someone to join them, and they would have a certain standard, right? Think about it this way. If you have been already somebody who's been practicing in the world level championships, say for, I don't know, basketball, you would be easily somebody who can go to the Olympics level later. So that's what I mean by quality of the work experience. So it just doesn't matter. Like, so say, for example, 10 years you work, it doesn't matter. The quality matters a lot. And of course, your performance in the program at the business school. It you can have a specialization, you don't have to have a specialization, you can have an internship, or you could have a consulting project or a case competition instead. You could have multiple positions of responsibility within the MBA. Example, you could be the president of certain club and so on. Okay, I hope that I'm not boring you, because now comes the best part. Now, MIT is notorious for asking some unique information, more information, etc. Now, in order to avoid that last minute problem and also to utilize your position wherever you are in your company, think about it. Go and draw the organization chart of your company. Now, if you can pick up any role in your company which is in the business function, what will you take? It can be, as I told you, logistics, HR, financial operations, marketing, etc., etc. So think about it. Like, what kind of role would you want? This is one way to do. The other way to do is to look at the targeted company. Say that you want to go and work for Google, or you want to work for Microsoft AI. What are you going to do there? Like, what kind of role would you like? How far down the rung will you be? Right? So that is also something you can check. So keep this in mind and get started. So the now do not worry. I have like put together all of these in one worksheet, which is so handy. And honestly, that's what a lot of my clients keep using all the time. Okay, so let's go to this part here, so which is the goal setting. Any goal setting is very simple. Someone says that, hey, you know what? You are currently somewhere, you need to go to some short-term goal, and then you have some long-term goal. Now, you are not able to do it directly. That's exactly why you have an MBA. So you have to understand how is the past achievements affecting the future success very much. Okay, you have to understand if the goal that you have decided is specific and attainable. Say, for example, I can't say I want to become an astronaut after business school. Actually, I could, who knows? Like, I can work for SpaceX and all that, maybe. But the point is, what are you willing to do to achieve this goal? So, what am I willing to do to become an astronaut? Okay, that is also important. So, that's what we mean by specific and attainable. I can't say I want to be the president of the United States. I could technically, like, yeah, if miracles happen and other things, I might work my way towards becoming that. But is that something that the B school can help me? Possibly not. So that's where be very clear about what is your career goals, and obviously your past career will affect it. Okay. You have to start researching on the website about the school. You have to connect with people who are in the similar roles that you want in your targeted industry. You have to connect the AdCom. AdCom will meet you in virtual events, in online events, in MBA fairs, and on MBA waves. For example, we have. I think you know that I run MBA waves with two of my colleagues. We have MBA waves coming on um, March. Today's 29th, right? That'll be the next one is on Tuesday. So Tuesday is 2nd April. Okay. So on April 2nd, we are talking to Simon Business School, and we're going to understand more about Simon Business School and what they do and what they have to offer. So please attend any of these events. That'll be like great thing. And of course, go through the career services. Now, so enough of talk. I'm going to show you exactly where to do all of these things and how to do it. Okay. So let's move to the portion that I want to show you. So one minute, I haven't disappeared. Just a second. Okay. So I'm going to show you multiple things. This is where I would say that fasten your seat belts. Okay, kind of a thing. All right. Okay, no worries. It's going to ask me to log in. Okay, it's there. Okay. Now you would have MBA or MIM or any one of those courses that are available for you. See, go to Google, log in using the password that you have. And we're going to look at the MIM MBA, right? All of these programs right now. Now, if you go into this program and look at the career goals, additional resources, there are a lot of things that are available for you, all the handouts. You can go to the focus of the month session, but most importantly, I would request you to go to the important tools and then go to the important tools, and you'll be able to see all the worksheets that I'm going to talk to you about today. Okay. So the worksheet, the main worksheet, the handy checklist for worksheets here is This one, the industry research worksheet and the career goals worksheet. So this is where you will go and pick it up. I will come to this at the very last. All right. Okay. So let's move on to this one. I wanted to show you about how are the business schools helping you, right? I love Ross because I got an opportunity to study with some of the best university professors there, you know. I still remember my marketing management 101 after like literally, I didn't fall off 2006. Okay, so it's going to be soon, another 2 years, it'll be like 20 years. I still remember marketing management, and I had one of the best professors to teach it. So I'm obviously like very partial to Ross. I love Ross. But here we go. You can go and understand all the career paths that are available to you right here. So 1 minute. So if I click on choose, you remember like I was talking about the industry and the function. These are all like more like the functions. So if I want to get a general management role, if I want to get into a marketing role, these are all like functions. Okay, so if I want to get into management consulting, how do I do it? So when you click on it, you get an idea about how to go about preparing for that field. You get an idea of like what kind of courses will you be taking, what kind of experience will you be having, what kind of companies are coming there, how much money are they paying, and look at everything that's available. What's the median, mean, range, blah, blah, and how to get there. And then how can you add other concentrations? How to handle map. Map is like one of the most unique features of ROS. Go and read it, and so on and so forth. And how to take targeted courses that can help you towards achieving the goal. All right, and how to achieve your, or rather gain consulting experience in business school. It can be through the consulting club, the community club, and blah, blah, and all that. So I really love Ross because it gives you career paths like nothing else. Okay, that's one thing. Now let's go to the other one. 1 minute. Huh? Okay, I'm going to Yale School of Management here. I hope everyone's hearing me and everything, everyone's with me, right? So far? Okay, cool. So Yale also has career paths. It's not as great as Browse, I should say, but yeah, it is good information as well. But yeah. So you would want to possibly go and understand what is by the numbers, what is by the mentorship, insights, blah, 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 internship, employment report, how to get it. So remember like all the things I told you, all of it is available super like very easily here. Another thing I recommend is this is a time that you go and understand the full-time, student life. It can be MIM, MBA, MS Finance, anything. I don't care what it is. Any program. So look at the programs. There are so many programs that are typically available in a business school. So for all of these business school programs, you would want to understand what does a day in the life of a student look like. Okay, and therefore you will understand there are many student clubs, there are many competitions, there are diverse communities, which are affinity clubs as we call it. There are different ways of engaging with alumni. There are different ways to develop yourself as a leader, and of course other ways of practical hands-on training like the executive challenge over here, and of course a location advantage. It can be DC for here, it can be New Haven, Connecticut for Yale, it can be Ann Arbor for Ross. So every location will have something to offer. Definitely New York City, Nashville, where Owen is located, McDonough, where Washington, D.C., obviously, So you really want to understand the value of the location and how and where does it matter, what matters, etc. You also want to understand how can you be of value to other people? What are the co-curricular opportunities? How can you volunteer? How can you like take part in the various clubs that are there? How can you go on a trek maybe? What about things that are there, right? Other things that are there. So you have to understand what it takes to become a student. And this is what I was talking about when I said that you have personal goals, financial goals, professional goals, etc. So think of it broadly as personal development and professional development. All right. I get goosebumps talking about an MBA student's life, because it is really nice, it's very valuable, and so on. Sorry, I accidentally clicked multiple things and that's where it is. So coming back to this, your best friend for today is going to be the career goals worksheet right here. And I would want you to like go back and then download it. Okay. And then use it up as much as you can. All right. Moving forward very quickly. See, now I'm going to go into like a fast gear mode because we have covered most of the things that you need to know. All right. So we're going to go to the next one right now. So which is like, now, what can the MBA do for you is it can give you the relevant skills that are absolutely essential. Now, MBA can also help you to practice those skills in, for example, like an internship or a consulting project or like other things that are available in business school. So this is something that you have to understand about the program. And this is what it is. So whenever you're writing any career goal, you have to think about how to research your role and domain. Okay, this you can do with an informational interview. The statistics for the school, as I showed you for Ross and all, where to find it, right? The career services for the school and how to follow the trends in your school. So these are the ways that you have to really identify your career goals because it's not like easy otherwise. Okay. Now this is where our great tool comes in handy, which is two things. One is your career goals form that you're seeing today, and the other one is going to be the worksheet. I want you to look at the screen right now and tell me about what do you think is your roadblock. Trust me, for every roadblock, we have a solution and we have a methodology for you on how to work on it. Okay. Now, MBA.com publishes information about any kind of business school careers. See, MIM, MSBA, etc., are entry-level roles or mid-level roles, So they ultimately lead you to the same path in a business organization. So here's what I mean, right? So I had this person who did an MIM and he was working with a venture capital firm. And he came back for an MBA with us. And, obviously, like he was looking to move up, and that's why he needed an MBA. So all you have to understand is no matter what is your specialized business master's program from the business school, it ultimately leads you to a business career or a semi-business career or whatever it is that you want it to be. So which of the problems do you think you will have right now? Is it because you don't know what is your goal? You don't know anybody in the targeted role. You don't know like what the role is going to lead you to, etc. Right? Okay. So is it that you don't understand the requirements of the recruitment? You don't know how easy it is to change or industry or function? Okay, the role or industry and so on. All right. So that's why we have the industry research worksheet or the career goals worksheet. This is a very neat way for you to put together all the information that you want, all your research in one place so that you can make a decision. Okay, so we have parameters, which source, what are the points to consider, etc. And then we have a column which says, what is your preference? What is it that you want? Okay, and what is it that you like about the field, and so on. So one thing you have to note is that every school will ask you about career goals in one way or the other. So example, ISB used to ask this. Booth ask you, like, tell me about how Booth can help you. Wharton ask you, how can Wharton help you? And consider the past experience and then tell us. Okay. London Business School will tell you like what is the goal and how can London Business School help you. See, by the way, all these are before your chat GPTs of the world, and you can see that these are all variations of the same theme, and that's what it is. Because every school is bound to help you achieve the goal that you have set for yourself. You want to be a product manager at Google? Then it is a job of London Business School to make sure that you're getting the opportunities and the skills that are required to become a product manager at Google. So that is why this question and all the questions are important. So how to write your career goals essay is super simple. Identify your goals, check where your career journey is. It can be an internship, it can be a small work experience, it can be a longer work experience, doesn't matter. Then give us an understanding of why are these your goals. If you want to be a product manager, why do you want to be a product manager? How is it benefiting you at this stage? Why do you think it's interesting to you? What do you want to achieve? Right? And most importantly, think about how will you achieve your goals, right? Yes, of course, you're going to do an MBA, but is that sufficient for you to do? What else should you be doing, right? And so on. So, and one of the most important things that you'll have to think about is why now and why not later. All right. So I'm going to pause here for a second and like do like a quick new share of the career goals. Let's go back to this, our favorite career goals here. Now let us try to fill out information. See, now you know what are you trying to change. I'm trying to change the function, industry, geography, all three. This is the typical answer for somebody who wants to go abroad. But yours can be different. What is the industry? Someone is asking me, can you give me other industries? Yes, absolutely. We have about so many 90 different industries and subdomains here. Okay, so you can like start like looking at sports, mining, medical, media, management consulting, IT products, IT services, IT software. So many different subdomains also. Not just domain, you can be even more thorough. Okay, then what are the functions that you want? Again, we have expanded on it, so you can look at anything that you want and then go ahead. Okay, so fill that up, fill this up. So I want to be a CTO in CIA. Okay, and specializing in intelligence. I'm just making this up because somebody actually did this, got this role, an Indian got this role. And then you really want to think about like what do you want to do in the long term? I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to run my own education business or healthcare business, whatever. Okay, and so on and so forth. So now remember like what are the steps that you have to take to become this one? See, you have to research the school website, contact the admissions directors through the different fairs and all that. Okay, you might wonder where, but see if you can look at it. So I'm just going to show you very quickly. So Ross, MBA, let's choose another program. So why don't we choose Simon MBA? Admissions events. Okay, everybody will have thousands of events online, offline, meet in a coffee chat, meet in somewhere, whatever. So go and explore these events. This is what I mean. Schedule a visit if possible, and or go to some of the most important signature events or the virtual events. You can do it sitting at home. So see, there's one coming up on April 2nd. You can understand like what are the experiential learning opportunities available there. What about application question and answer with the admissions committee, and so on and so forth. So go and attend all these events. Don't just sit and think that, oh, they're not coming. Contact current students. So how can I find current students? Very simple. I'm going to show you Ross again. You'll be like, again, Ross? Yeah, see, honestly, guys, it's a really great program. But okay, so, but Ross does have like something going well for them. Like they have like student ambassadors. So this is a way you can connect with somebody. Okay, so that's like a very easy answer. You can always go and look elsewhere as well, and then you'll be able to like elsewhere, meaning on LinkedIn and everywhere else. That's also one place. Connect with the role models in the industry. This is where LinkedIn will really help you. We have a whole webinar for LinkedIn series that you can think about. Okay. Now take up additional certifications in your targeted domain. Absolutely essential. That will be very helpful as well. You can contact the alumni who are working in the field. Definitely. Right? See, what is the difference between role models and alumni is that role models can be anybody in that role, right? That you are looking forward to. But alumni are specific people who come from that particular school. Example, Ross, Simon, Tepper, Harvard, Stanford. You want to go and talk to those people working, for example, you want to get into ISB, product management, right? So you will talk to somebody who is doing product management who studied at ISB. So that's what we mean as alums. Subscribe to a magazine, example, McKinsey. So if I go to McKinsey, for example, or I can go to Industry Insights, right? McKinsey has thousands of things and they bombard me with so much of information. You can look at industries and that will give you an idea of what is happening in the various different sectors. If you want to understand product management, then you can go and look at product management somewhere. And if you want to look at, say, here, the industries, McKinsey is a very good source for you. And of course, all the other forums. You can also look at, like, I like to look at e-financial careers. for anything related to finance. So you might want to look at that one. Okay, so you can look at that and understand like what kind of roles are available. I'm going to look at a job in asset management, and I want to do asset management in Sevilla, right? So let's say Spain. Why not? Because if I can search, I'll search. So and it says like, where do you mean by Spain? So I should have written Madrid or somebody. So I can look at some jobs here in multiple different places and understand what's needed. Yeah. So it is super easy to find out a blog, a website, a newsletter, a magazine, or somebody who's an expert in the field and get started. Another one, go follow professors. I love this professor, Professor Paul. Oh my God, I forgot his second name. How can I? Uh, um, it'll come in a minute, guys. 1 minute. I can't forget. I forgot his name, and I spoke to him in the morning as well today. See, this professor I met in actually Kellogg in 2017. Then I went to AGAC, and Professor Paul. Okay, Dr. Paul Corona. His name is Corona, right? And he is from Kellogg. So you can go and check him out and then see like what are the kind of things that he does on LinkedIn. Another professor who's going to come and talk to us is a professor from INSEAD. And see, this is a professor that I interacted at Yale. She wrote the book. She wrote the book called Influence, and I'm just blanking out on names today. Sorry, I don't know why. I typically am good with names, but I forgot today. So yeah, Professor Chance, Zoe Chance. Yes, so I had a chance to be in her class at Yale this summer, like last June, and she's amazing. Like she really has so many things about consumer insights and marketing and how someone can exert influence on somebody. So this is what I mean by saying go and check out the magazine, website, newsletter, blog, and expert and everything else. Okay, so the other thing can be professor and then expert. Okay, and then what we call as there are many publishing houses. So you can also look at publishing houses and various thousands of forums out there for multiple information. See, one thing, don't say I want to get into business school and not know anything about business school. That will be the stupidest thing to do. Okay. Now, yeah, I would say Professor Zoe Chance is really nice. And I have like, one of my favorite persons has been Lisa DeHart. She's the coach. She's done amazing work in my field. So I can write about her. I can write about Professor Ram Badran Tirumalai, who is the Deputy Dean of ISB, who I met, I think, last month or like beginning of this month at ISB. So I can talk about him because he's an amazing work. I can write Professor Ramana Sonti, like who's one of our investors, and the kind of work he does, and Professor Bhagwan Chaudhary, and Professor Dushyant, I forget his last name, sorry. Today's a name where I forget names, right? Oh, shit. So, Professor Kamdar, I know his second name, I forgot his first name. And this is so sad, but yeah, today's the day I forget names. But yeah, I can write about anybody, or it can be like your Elon Musk and other people in the world, who you think are important. But this is important to note, right? And then coming to the last but not least is what is your plan B? Suppose you're not going to get into your targeted program this intake. Are you going to go to next intake? Are you going to look for an alternative program and apply in another round? Are you going to go apply for an MIM, MBA, whatever, through your company if they're willing to sponsor you? Will you give up on your plans or go or put your plans on hold? Right? So what is it that you want? And you can have another option. So you can say, I'm going to go for an MS. If I don't get into an MBA or an MIM, I'll go for MS. Or I will go for a job. Or I will like write UPSC or whatever. So it can be anything. Okay. So do all these things, and it hates me for not filling out the thing. Yeah, I'm done with all the others, and that's it. You're done with multiple things that you want. And This is for the next week, meaning like next time that we meet, this is for your LinkedIn profile. So go ahead and fill it at your best thing that you think. We have webinars for it that is going to come up live, but we have like many webinars that we already done in the past and available to you. You can always look at it. But this is something that we want you to work on for the future. We just put it here because knowing this will also help you to formulate more things about yourself, and it's a quick, easy tool. All right, so that part is done. Now, I'm going to stop sharing for a second and show you my wonderful industry research worksheet that I really love. Now, why do I love this? Is because it's so handy. And we worked a lot. We discussed with a lot of people, and we asked them like, how can we help you in your research? How can we help you put everything together in one place? Because today I'm going to McKinsey and working on it. Tomorrow I will go to, I don't know, BCG and look for something, right? So I will just quickly share with you. Give me a second, folks. Just opening it up. So the easiest way will be to download it once more, but I've already downloaded it, so I don't want to download once more. So sorry, that's the reason why it's taking a little longer. One minute while I show you where you can do things in life. All right. So I'm going to go back here and I'm just going to download it once more. Sorry, I should have done this before, but yeah. So when you do it, you will get like a download over here. So this is what is there. So I'm just going to open it. And my form opens up like this. 1 minute. Okay, guys, so finally luck is in our favor, and there we go. All right, so we have this nice looking format. And trust me that one of the people came and said, you know what? You gave us a systematic approach to see, by the way, this is not the only approach in life. There are 1,000 ways to find your goals. There are so many tools that are available. I can point you to so many different tools that we use in the business school executive world, right? So I myself like give a lot of assessments for people, which is like your DISC. Then it can also be like your Hogan assessment. It can be like your Clifton Strengths Finder. There are so many different Gallup strengths and so on. So there are many things that are available. But what we have put together is one of the easiest way for you to work on things. So go and look at the sample. Please go to the index because it tells you like what are all the different sheets and what is the purpose of each of the sheets and how you can use them. But this is where you'll start filling out your information and so on. This is your fillable worksheet. Okay. Now you can always make like other copies of it and then keep on like working on multiple industries and research them. Here's an example of a sample. So let's say that you're working in a financial services as a consultant for Deloitte right now. and you want to move to become a brand marketing manager at Google, working in the technology sector in US. So then you start researching about how to get into Google, what is the kind of services, blah, 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 right? And then what is the job description, the hiring policies, and then the research requirements, etc., etc. So you start looking at the facts and formulating your opinions about those facts. So it's not just enough to say, oh, you know what, I want to get into Nike, but you have to say why you want to get into Nike. You know why? Because this comment section here is what is going to go into your essays later on. Example, you will say like, hey, you know what, I want to work in Nike because I'm looking at working in the New York region and I'm very keen on marketing management. And Nike is doing this wonderful work in these regions, etc., in these areas. And that's why I want to go and work with Nike. So this is something that you can put in your essays. Okay. We talked about information sources. So we talked about, here's an example of how to make the organization chart. So we give you a step-by-step approach. And then we also tell you about how to find the employment statistics and how to find the other details that you saw on the screen today. And this is one of my favorites. I wrote a couple articles long time ago, and it's still valid, in fact. So the question would be like, what are you seeking ultimately? We saw this. And if you address this, then writing half of the essays in the world will become super simple. Okay. Another important exercise we ask you to do is to understand what is the skill gap that you have between your current role and the short-term goal that you want to take up. And last but not the least, we have like tons of questions out here. There are so many programs that would want your answers here, right? Everybody would ask the career goals question. So we give you a very easy method of how to do it along with a sample. Okay, so this is also another incredibly useful tool that's gonna make sense to you and you can use at the moment. All right, so what did you guys see today? You saw that it was pretty easy to actually like arrive at your career goals using the multiple tools that were given to you today. Yeah, and now it comes to an important point. What about like, when we're talking about career goals, right? The idea is we want to show the path that we have taken so far as well as where it is leading to. So look at the path before and look at the path after the MBA. So this is an example. So we have so many people who have changed careers. So honestly, guys, we have more people who change careers now than ever before. So no matter where they come from, the person comes from a tier 2 college or some other background, but ultimately started working as product manager in an AI firm. The other person is working in industrial management and suddenly started working as planning and performance in Swiggy. So it's all very different. So the MBA can take you to different paths. So does MIM and MSBA and MS in finance as well. Okay. So before you come to the next session, here's what I want you to do. I would request you to please go to the portal here, download the industry research worksheet and the region research worksheet, because the region talks about the various regions that you go and get to study and what are the parameters to look there. The permanent visa situation. Remember all the personal goals that we had? So that is what the region talks about. And in fact, like we have two resources that we really want you to take into account. One is the additional resources where we put together the study abroad country specific series, where you can go and look at every single thing, like whether it's Oceania, Germany, UK, France, Canada, anywhere you want to go study. These are the most popular countries. Of course, there are so many other countries in the world, but these are the most popular. And then you also have all the prior workshops. I told you about the leveraging the LinkedIn before. Please go watch it. And last but not the least, you also have the B School Showdown for the MBA. So this is something that I would really, really consider to watch. Because see, after, say for example, you decided I'm going and studying in UK, you would want to go and attend the top programs in UK. Example, Cambridge, Judge, LBS, and Said. You would want to understand how to work with, M7 programs, or you would want to understand the different types of programs available. Like ISB PGP and PGP Max and so on and so forth. You want to understand the difference between the executive MBA and the full-time MBA. Correct? Similarly, there are so many showdowns that are here that you could rely on and then get your answers. All right. So with that, I'm going to break for questions that you might be having. You've been a great audience so far. Thanks so much. What are some of the questions that you can throw at me right now? Or what are the challenges you're facing? In fact, you know what? I'm going to go back and then put the slide for the identifying your roadblocks, because this is a very good starting point for anybody. Any questions, please feel free to ask me. Okay, so one question is like, when should we do these worksheets, right? See, the 3 worksheets that I showed you, you should share by, month of April. We want it out by April, and these are the worksheets again for your quick reference. Like when you go into the handy worksheet, checklist of worksheets, you have to decide your career goals. Otherwise, you can't go. You have to decide which country you're going and studying. And if the US, please decide between North and West and East and South and everything. Please be aware of the cost that you're going to incur. And definitely, we will also start working on the researching on the B school. So these 4 things you should have started. If not now, you should have, if not earlier, you should have started. And we expect you to complete this by the month of April. Okay, so that in the month of April, we tell you about how to use the essay questionnaire and everything, and then you can get started with it. Yeah, all right. Should I be simultaneously working on the essays and the worksheets? No, you should be working on the essays one by one right now. So you should be working on these essays the worksheets one by one. Essay questionnaire will come later. That's where we will help you with it, not to worry. Yeah, you should be simultaneously researching and studying for GMAT 100%. Okay, so GMAT is something that has to come out as we discussed in multiple sessions. Okay, all right. So that's pretty much what I had for you all today. So I expect you to finish the career goals form and these worksheets, and also keep your eyes peeled for the focus of the month sessions and the focus hours. We spend a lot of energy in making sure that we can convey that to you. We know you're very busy with multiple things going on. Getting into business school is not easy. There's a lot of, I keep telling you, there are too many moving parts that people have to balance, right? So with that, I'm going to quickly come to an end. And there we go. So good luck to everybody and happy learning. Thanks so much for joining us. I really hope that you benefit from it, and happy Easter to everybody who was celebrating. Bye.